On the road again. After a month of home cooking, the Reaver football team headed to El Dorado, the home of the six-time NJCAA national champion Butler Grizzlies, a place where the Reavers have yet to get in the W column. Would this be the trip the Reavers would strike gold, or would Veterans Sports Complex continue to be a house of horrors? Coming up, we'll find out. This is the Iowa Western Football Coaches Show. Highlights and more on their way on the Coach Stroh Show on IWTV and the Reaver Sports Network. From the studios of IWTV in Council Bluffs, this is the Coach Stroh Show. I'm Jake Ryan, along with the head coach of the Iowa Western Reaver football team, head coach Scott Stroh. Well, coach, as far as rivalries go and true rivalries that the Reavers have with another team, this one really feels like the real deal. You guys have an advantage right now in the overall series, but Butler has stolen some from you. How do you feel about that statement? Would you consider them maybe your largest or your biggest rival?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we played them the most. You know, we played them from 2012 on, and we didn't start the agreement till 14. So we have a couple more games against them, and they're always really good. You know, and when you start a program, or even when I was at a previous institution, you kind of looked at Butler because they were the ones. And so now anytime you can have a rivalry with them, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I won't remind you that rivalry almost started in 2010, but that's a topic for another conversation. Reavers and the Grizzlies, let's take a look at the highlights as the Reavers entered Veterans Sports Complex with a pretty good run, 4 in a row so far. Butler had reeled off several victories in a row as well, and the Reavers go to work right away. TJ Starks down the middle of the field. There's Michael Zachary in space. It seemed early on to have trouble getting going, Coach. He was making the catches, but then couldn't seem to find very big room to run, and there he makes a good catch and gets a 10-yard run. That's not necessarily the play I was talking about there.
Yeah, I mean, most of the day though they were trying to take him away, and you know, we got a block on the perimeter in order to get them some space, but they did a good job of taking some of that stuff away.
Grizzlies pretty good defense. They force a turnover, and they'll take over on their first set of downs, and then what a hit on the outside as their big running back gets going, Graham Roberts down the sideline.
Yeah, you know, that's not maybe the way we want to start. We had a little assignment error and missed the tackle, but you know, our defense came up, you know, pretty good here.
Rodney Owens slowing him down. There's Elijah James from the back end, and then their quarterback Trey Self up. Here comes trouble. Luckily for Butler, they got back on top of that one.
I thought we got that one. That was big and huge. Here, you put them in the field goal range or out of field goal range, really. You know, and they came away with no points.
Yeah, he was hitting those in the pregame, and that was with the wind. Here's a nice pass across the middle to Marcel Barbie. Gets a Reaver first down almost to midfield, and then, well, you just keep on chugging. This time, Milton Sargba gets across for the first down.
Not a lot of room to run, but, you know, and we did. This was a big one, you know, Marcel again, but, you know, we're getting chunks. I think that's the big thing.
Ever since that game against Hutch where he scored 3 touchdowns, do you see teams kind of getting on him a little bit more often? And here's the first touchdown of the game. How about the effort by Nick Singleton as he pushes, and finally breaks the plane?
Kind of a busted play, and you know, we just found the opening and ended up getting in before the ball was loose.
I'll tell you what, the officials on either side of that line indicating that was a touchdown. As football gets more technological and moves on with things, don't you think a sensor in the ball across the goal line would be something that would be a pretty affordable alternative to making a guess on whether they fumbled or whether they crossed the goal line?
You would think so. I mean, now there's so many opportunities. You look across college football, there's how many are there a week?
Yeah. Well, the Reavers had one earlier there. They determined that he crossed the line, and then Nick Singleton wide open again. And good pursuit from Butler here as he continues to pull, gets it across the goal line. They call the touchdown. Butler thinks they've got a fumble recovery. They showed that replay in the stadium, Coach, from about this same angle. You can't tell from an angle like this. And, of course, that incited the crowd just a little bit when they saw the ball come out.
For sure. And that one was, you know, like I said, it was close. I was watching on the replay. And, there, you know, unless you got slow-mo and can go back from different angles, I don't think you're going to be able to change that.
Butler to work as they trail 14-0. And again, your defensive line this season has been unbelievable. You throw in the backers and the defensive backs as well, and what a D it is. And as I say that, you guys get the ball back and go back to work.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you got a defensive line, you know, like we have, that's causing havoc, you know, gives the offense more opportunities to play.
Well, the runs by T.J. Starks and the rest of the running back crew. It was a tough go. To have a 14-0 lead at this time of the game is pretty impressive. And there is the first turnover of the game as they get the pick on a, well, would you call it an ill-advised pass by T.J. there?
Yeah, he broke the pocket, and sometimes those are when balls sail on you, and we're up 13-0, and we have an opportunity, and we give them a chance for life. Luckily, our defense comes up, big.
Time and time again, I believe, as Kevin White put it in the Omaha World Herald and the Daily Non-Pareil. Here's a throw to the end zone. Great defense, punched away at the last minute, and incomplete to their big back. And then you guys get it back with time still on the clock, and another great run up the middle. This time Sargba rips off a first down run.
I thought he got a shoestring there. I thought he was going to maybe bust that one through, and he hit it. But, again, you got to get first downs, and teams like this, Clay has to come in the game, and we had a couple new tackles in there against some really good DNs.
So you turn the ball over as you punt it away from Hunter Pinniger, and then it looks like that ball's uncatchable. Daniel Isom makes some contact. They throw the flag for pass interference. If he would have left him alone, there's no way that ball was being caught.
No, and sometimes instinctively DBs will grab when they shouldn't, but that's part of it.
Butler cruising down the field as they get inside, and here's a little bit of a broken play. Trey Self to the far side. He spins in for a touchdown, and it's 13-7 going into halftime.
Yeah, and on that one, we kind of had a busted assignment that kind of gave them that. But, I thought our defense played extremely well offensively. We got two big plays. Didn't really sustain a lot of drives, but, two really good defenses on the field.
Absolutely. Solid work by the Reaver D, but good old Mo headed toward the home team at halftime. 30 more minutes of football on its way. We'll get you the highlights when we come back on the Coach Stroh Show on IWTV and the Reaver Sports Network.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
1 in 5 children struggle with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to understood.org.
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the creative galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul.
From the IWTV studios, I'm Jake Ryan, along with the head coach of the Iowa Western Reaver football team, Scott Strohmeyer. All right, Coach, what was the discussion at halftime since the momentum was shifting just a little bit toward Butler as they get a touchdown on the board right before the first half expired?
Well, really, we talked about it before the game that it was going to be a 60-minute game. They're not going to go away at home, and for us to be up 13-7, maybe we didn't like that last scoring drive, but I thought we had control of the game. We had to shore up some things offensively, made a few adjustments defensively, continued to play, and our motto was we had to do whatever it takes to win. This week and in this game, and I thought we did a good job in the first half. We'll see if we can finish it in the second.
I think this season, more than any season that you've had in the past, kind of reflects what it means to play a full 60 minutes of football. You get through that whole first half, the defense is rolling, and then Butler gets one at the end where it was not a bad defensive series for your guys, but they kept the pressure on and finally punched it in. Would you say that that's kind of fair, 28 minutes of football in a half, and then for whatever reason the focus just kind of slows down a little bit at the end of the halves?
Yeah, and part of that is you got two, their staff does a good job and they kind of attacked us well, and you're going to make some plays, and unfortunately they made a big play and then got them down in the red zone, and we gave them some situations in this game that we're lucky to be 13-7 with a couple of the turnovers we had, and our defense stood up. So, but yeah, two really good teams going.
All right, let's take a look at those second half highlights. Reavers up 13-7 at the midway break through 30 minutes of football and back out in El Dorado. How about this facility that Butler's got? Pretty nice, don't you enjoy going there?
It is. It's nice. For a junior college stadium to, from the press box to just the setup is really nice.
So there's Elijah James on that very nice turf, bringing a man down. And then again, your defensive secondary, the linebackers heading over. There's Willie O'Hara supervising a couple of his teammates making the tackle.
Well, again, anytime you can come out after half and get a stop and then get the ball back, I think is huge. And then we got pinned deep, and so now you got to get a first down, and we did.
Yeah, their punter on the season had pinned opponents 22 times inside their own 20, and they did it to you guys there the 23rd time on the season. Pretty good kicker.
Yeah, he is. They put it in good position, and that's we take a chance, and that's sometimes where we don't want to do that. The way our defense is playing, and sometimes when it's tough go offensively, you can't give them opportunities.
So a 1st and goal. What would the Reaver defense do? Well, there's Willie and a couple other guys making sure that's a hard run. Now they'll go to the left side. Guess what? Great tackle on the edge. I believe that was Rodney Owens that made that tackle. And then the field goal, just a little bit wide right. So you survive a 1st and goal situation after the second turnover of the game off the arm of TJ Starks.
That was huge, when you make them try to kick and never know what can happen. And they were actually going with the wind there. We gave them the wind in the third, and that's big for our defense, big for confidence.
And we talk about the plays that TJ made with his arm going to the other team. He kept the team alive. What a performance by him as this ball incomplete on that far sideline to Michael Zachary. And just the plays that your offense was able to get on the day against a very tough Grizzly defense, pretty impressive. There's Nifis West making his presence felt.
Yeah, and they did a good job. I think they kind of were swiping some of our signals with a couple former players and changed up what some of their corners were doing from time to time. But like I said, it's tough going. You just got to make sure and execute when you can.
Corey Hernandez with a nice tackle, Elias Bell, and then a throw to the outside. That'll convert a new set of downs. Trey Self, pretty good QB in his own right. He is finding his targets in a quick manner. He didn't have much time to throw on the day.
No, not many QBs do, and I think that was a 3rd down or 4th down stop there. That was big, but he's been more accurate these last few games, their QB.
Daniel Isom making that helping out on that 3rd down stop, forcing the incompletion. Reavers get the ball back, then you have to kick it back. Fair catch called for, and then oops, the wind playing havoc and scooping it up for the Reavers. The ball staying right there, but you get the turnover. That happened to you as well, coming up here in a little bit as well. But that wind just kind of killing the ball at the end. Both guys calling for the ball, and it just dumped off at the last minute. How about this play by Beathard to Sargba? Beathard got out of trouble once, got out of trouble again, and then dumped it off. And then a blocked field goal is what ensues after you're forced to kick it away.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of those turnovers. We get the good field position, and then take a risky throw there, but we got to convert on that field goal.
Perion Winfrey got a little bit of face mask, and then how about this catch? Even better, how about this tackle, keeping him out of the end zone at least briefly? That's the other replay they showed in the stadium where the fans were a little bit incited, and then Trey Self scores on the QB plunge with basically from a half yard out after multiple penalties put them half the distance to the half the distance to the half the distance. So down 14-13, and then biggest play of the game right here, Marcel Barbie on 3rd and 7.
Yeah, it was huge. It went through his progression. We've been telling him, give these guys a chance. That's all you got to do. And Marcel makes a huge 3rd down, and Nifis makes a huge 3rd down run here.
Yeah, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. I saw it on Twitter, and here's the handoff to Michael Zachary on the jet sweep. He's, again, so hard to bring down. How many, count him, on a 5'7" guy? Took 6 guys to bring him down, and then TJ Starks, he was not going to be stopped on that run.
Yeah, he did a good job, and they made him pull it, and they got a spike linebacker, and we were talking about it all week. You just got to get vertical and break through an arm tackle.
So now Butler trailing by 5 as you guys come up empty on the 2-point conversion. And they will drive down looking, if they can score a touchdown, they're ahead. They don't have to rely on the kicker to take the lead. And how about this run by Trey Self all the way to the outside, gets out of bounds. Very smart heads-up play. And then on 4th and 2, they go with a little bit of trickeration, and Elijah James, nice job covering from his defensive tackle spot. Interesting play call when all they need is 2 yards, and they've been getting it over and over with Graham Roberts all game, but they elected to go with the razzle-dazzle, the trickery, and they come up empty.
Yeah, they're trying to catch you and go all or nothing there. They called the timeout before. I never really thought that it was a trick play coming, but I'm glad our guys, Elias was huge on that one for staying or being able to penetrate, and then Elijah for recognizing that there's something. He just turns and runs. Otherwise, the QB was wide open.
Yeah, his quote was, "I was just trying to get in the way and then and then not contact him to not get pass interference." So what a play! And then you guys down it a couple times. You close out for the first time ever in El Dorado with a W. That had to feel good. It was a gutty performance all around. How about Josh Wegner goes down in the pregame with a broken thumb and then ends up breaking his foot in the second quarter and gutted it out the rest of the game. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was a pretty gutty performance by him. He came out of the game, or before the game, they casted him up and started the game and then hurt his foot and was out and then iced it for a while and then came back in the game. And, and that's really what we tried to stress to him, whatever it takes to win. And, I was really proud of the way our kids responded. And, we were already down a few guys and, we knew it wasn't going to be easy coming into the game, and our kids just kept fighting and fighting. And then we go down, and then probably one of the better drives that we had all year in converting that final touchdown.
Now, Coach Woods might need to play those 6 plays this week, huh?
For sure.
All right, so you get the win. What was the feeling after the game? I know that you thought whatever it takes, but how good does it feel to leave there with a W?
Well, it felt good. I mean, our kids were excited. I was really obviously it felt good for us, but I was really proud of our kids with, coming into it and just performing. And anytime you can see the hard work, the determination, and then get that outcome, when it just helps the team grow when you're up and then you're down. Maybe there's some guys upset at one another, and then to pull it out, I think, is just huge for the team.
Was that trick play that they ran toward the end similar to the one that Arizona Western ran in overtime a couple years ago?
Similar, but I think Arizona was a halfback pass, but yeah.
Okay.
It was almost not identical to the one we tried to run for our 2-point play.
Yeah, well, now you'll have to come up with something different for that
sure.
play. All right, there it is, a 19-14 winner for the Reavers in El Dorado. A big final as the Reavers go to 8-1 on the year with 1 game left. Finally, that big victory. The Reavers picking up the win in one of the gutsiest all-around performances by the team. A member of the Dark Side D, he'll join us next to talk about their performance. Morris Joseph will sit down with Brent Pentecost when we return on the Coach Stroh Show on IWTV and the Reaver Sports Network.
Tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
What if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
And this is the Coach Stroh Show. I'm Brent Pentecost. With the way the season's gone, the defense has been the MVP of this year's 8-1 run. On Saturday, it was no different. The offense got what they needed to get, and the defense held Butler at bay until they could. Joining me now, defensive lineman Morris Joseph. Thanks for joining us, Morris.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
It's been a great season so far for you. 29 tackles, 6 sacks, and this last week, 2 sacks. Some pretty good game-changing plays. What's it been like playing for the Reavers so far this year?
It's been great. I feel like it's one of the best decisions I could have made coming here. I already knew the tradition, and it had a big buzz around the name. So whenever I decided I was going to leave D1, I wanted to come compete to win the championship. So I feel like we're on the road to do that, and we still got that in front of us.
Definitely on the way. Outside of the one loss to Garden City, you guys have played amazing. Even in that game, you guys had a great game defensively. What's it been like playing with your brothers out there, especially on the defensive line? You guys are stacked out there.
That's what we stress. Like, we all know that whenever one of us play great, that frees up the other one. So we all try to play together as one group. And every time we talk and have conversations, I always try to talk to them and let them know, like, hey, some games you might get double, some games I might get double. It don't really matter. It's not about the stats or anything. Like, if we play together as brothers, like, we'll all come out victorious at the end. Like, we gonna all eat. Dogs don't eat with cats, so we all dogs.
So far this year, you're from Texas, coming up to Iowa here. What's it been like so far? It's been a pretty mild so far with the weather, but this weekend we're getting into normal Iowa football weather, 37 degrees. What's it been like getting acclimated to that?
I'm a down south guy, so my teammates and Coach Stroh and all of them, they always crack jokes on me about the weather because I be coming outside some days like, and when it was snowing, I had posted on Twitter like, man, it's snowing too bad. I can't leave the house today. And Coach Stroh, he added me on Twitter, put me on the spot and was like, hey, we have a meeting in 10 minutes. I was like, dang, it's snowing. No.
That was light snow. We ended up, that was gone in like a day and a half. That's light. Wait till a little bit later on here in this winter.
I'm definitely not ready for that, but hey, it is what it is.
So other than that, what has your experience been like here at Iowa Western?
My experience has been pretty good here, especially with the football part of it. I mean, I love it here. I feel like we all work. We all want to win. And there's a lot of competitors here. We all want to be the best. We talk noise like any other team. And I feel like we're the best right now. We're going to be, I feel like hopefully everything play out good this week and we find our way into the national championship and we'll win.
Well, one more game here at home, the final game for you guys as sophomores. What are your feelings going into the game?
This is the most important one because we have to look at this like the last one. This is really the most important one right now because we have to win in order for us to try to even have hopes of making it to the national title. So.
Very true, very true. Well, thank you very much for joining me. It was great to have you on, Morris.
All right, thanks.
When we come back, another edition of the show wraps up, just like Morris does when he collides with the quarterback in the backfield. But Morris Joseph, I'm Brent Pentecost. More Stroh Show right after this on Iowa Western Television and the Reavers Sports Network.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
From Council Bluffs, Iowa, and the studios of IWTV, this is the Coach Stroh Show. Coach, it seems like it takes forever for the season to get started, and then it gets started, and then it's gone. I mean, I mention it every year. It just seems like it goes so fast. Week number 10 for you guys as far as playing. You've had a couple bye weeks. What do you know about the Highland Scotties from a couple hours south?
Well, I mean, they're a good football team. I mean, Hutch was 16-13. I think, you know, Garden ended up being 20 points, but it was a lot closer than that. And they play really good defense. And every year we've played them, it's been challenging. You know, offensively, I think last year they came out and did some things. They had their tight end at quarterback and tried to smash it at us and gave us some fits in the first half. But, you know, they're well coached. They always come in. Everybody picks them to be towards the bottom of the Jayhawk every year. And they take that mentality that nobody thinks we're any good, and they just battle for 4 quarters. They do that. That's probably the biggest thing is they're going to give it to you for 4 quarters and play with a chip on their shoulder, and they always have been finishing in that upper tier, middle to upper tier the last few years. So that's kind of their motivation year in and year out. And they've got it clicking pretty well. A new field this year, and I know that they would love nothing more than to come up to Council Bluffs and beat the Reavers this week. They'll be ready. 'Cause, I mean, like I said, their chances of maybe getting into a bowl game, you know, are maybe slim. And you know, for them to be able to come up to our place, this will be their bowl game. I'm assuming that's the way the approach that they're going to take is we got a bowl game to try to knock off number 3 in the country, and they're going to be ready to go, and we got to be ready to go because you know, we want to finish this thing off from when we had a bump in the road a while back. We said we'd take it one game at a time. We got one left. All right, 1-0 every week. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. That does it for another edition of the Stroh Show. Last home game, as we mentioned, coming up this weekend on Saturday, a 1 o'clock kickoff with Highland. It's Sophomore Day on Military Appreciation Day at the game. Reminder to all of those that serve or have served that a free ticket awaits you at the gate of Titan Stadium. Simply present your DOD identification card, and you and 3 of your family members will be admitted absolutely free. The free tailgate begins at 11 o'clock with live music from Pos Bonus. If you are wondering what's up with that name, let's look at the scoreboard next time you're in a high school gym. Pos Bonus. And then the Reavers will face Highland at 1 o'clock from Titan Stadium, and you can catch it in person. And, of course, you can catch it on Reaver Vision and 89.7 The River as well. Pre-game begins on the radio at 12:30. We will talk to you then. Thanks again to the IWTV crew for executing and completing this week's show. And, of course, thanks to our guest, sophomore D lineman Morris Joseph. For Brent Pentecost and head football coach Scott Strohmeyer, I'm Jake Ryan, reminding you to wear your blue, be loud, and go Reavers.